Glad to see so many people and lively discussions already. Welcome so much. We are so happy to host this year's presentation of the State of Design 2024. My name is Hanna Mikleman. I'm head of design here at Framna, Sweden. And before I hand over the mic to our presenters, I'd like to just briefly, a few minutes, talk about Framna, where you're visiting today. For some of you, I know, we've been on touch for many, many years, but now we're actually transitioning into a new name, a new brand. And not only that, we've also joined forces with two other studios, one in Denmark and one in Netherlands. So now we're three agencies that are very much alike, but very strong in our own markets. And looking ahead, we also see more of these market-leading agencies joining our mission. So from now on, you'll know us as Framna and not Bontouch. And we are now over 500 people across 8 studios who really loves everything around digital products. And our mission is to build great products for some of the most ambitious brands in the world. And over the years, we've partnered up with brands to co-create experiences that are truly useful, delightful, and beautiful. And we create them for all people. So we strive to help our partners to become leaders in their respective industries by delivering these high-quality, award-winning products. And here you see a selection of the products we've designed and built together with our partners. And we usually say that every Swede has almost 2 or more of these apps installed on their device, which is something we are very proud of. So that's very, very short about us. If you want to know more, you can find me or any of my colleagues afterwards. We are the ones with green name tags. So any questions? This evening looks like this. We're going to kick things off with a presentation. State of Design Swedish Edition 2024. The presentation will run for 35-40 minutes, something like that. And after that, we'll have workshops in smaller groups on the topic of resilience. It's going to be very interesting. And you'll get more details around this later, but we expect the exercises to be around 1 hour. And then afterwards, we're here to hang out and mingle for anyone who is up for that. Yeah, with that, I'm handing over to our presenters, Jens, Anna, and Anders. Give them a warm welcome.
Hi, everyone. Hello, my name is Jens.
And I'm Anna.
Yeah, and then I'm Anders.
And we are the organization Design Leadership Community, which we're going to talk a little bit about, and then we're going to present this year's report. So firstly, a little bit about Design Leadership Community. It's an organization that has been here for a few years. And this or last year, we had a theme that was about resilience. And resilience is about kind of be resilience both in the ups and the downs, both as a personal, on a professional, team and organizational level, and kind of help us like survive the daily struggles of being a designer and a design leader. And this is the working group in our organizations. So Anders, we have Anna. Jenny, can you raise your hand? I see you somewhere around there, over there. We have Lisa, Chris, and me. And we sit in the board and try to work on different topics and on different activities. And our purpose is about supporting design leaders, amplifying the impact of design, and share experiences and knowledge with each other. And we do this, for example, with this report and other activities, like we have these meetups a few times a year, depending on what's interesting and on focus right now. This meetup is also a part of that. We also create reports. We do interviews with design leaders and try to kind of find data and insights about our profession, both from a design perspective and from a leadership perspective. And then we also have a mentorship/buddy program that runs once a year. And we have it running right now. I think it's about 20 people part of the program right now, something around there. And then we also have this like online community where everybody can join and like discuss, share information and such, and just connect with each other. We are about 100 members right now. And if you would like to be part of the community, you can just go to designleadership.se as where we have our homepage where you can start. And we are a non-profit organizations. We only have our member fees that we survive on. So we're really thankful for Framnet to host this tonight. It helps us a lot, and it's great to come here as this is a new place for us. So we're really, really grateful about that. So let's start with the State of Design report. And we have been running this for 10 years. It's crazy. So I started this at home in my kitchen, just kind of sent out a survey, and then it's been growing through the years. And then we kind of connected the survey with the community and trying to grow it and make it better and better through the years. And if you're interested in the report, we have these, let's see if I can get this. So there's one free version that anyone can access. And then if you're interested in more in the details, we have more of a premium version, which kind of you can go in and like dig deep into the data, look into the insights and kind of find and filter and kind of find more and more information about specific topics and the questions that we have, if you're interested in that. And if you're part of the community, it's free of charge. All right.
Yes. Is it on? Yeah, okay. So, we'll switch. Yeah. Okay, so who answered the survey this year? Well, it's really nice to see that, just like you said, it's been growing and growing. And last year we had a little bit over 1,000 people answering it. And this year was almost 1,300. So it's amazing to see how much this is being spread. It's a little bit more women than men. It's been the same over the years. It's primarily the largest group is UX designers. It's also something that has been consistent over the years. But we're starting to get, a couple of more leadership roles, and the most common ones are manager and lead, of course. And of course, it is from the larger cities. We've also, both last year and this year, it's been during the summer, which I think is nice. That's when people sort of have some time off and maybe can take some time to answer this, because it is quite long by now, even though we're trying to evolve it over the years to try to learn by what people have answered, but also trying to capture what is going on in the community. So what are the trends this year, or last year, because this was in 2024? Well, it is basically the same as it was last year. So we love collaboration. We love collaboration with colleagues, and we love collaboration with other designers. But of course, we also want to want to understand the needs of people. And of course, the primary ones are the users. Less fun is also basically the same. It's poor leadership. It's politics and bureaucracy and those kinds of really fun stuff. But also the context switching, having too many things going on at the same time. And what are the interests? And this is sort of interesting. Last year, accessibility was number 1, and then AI was number 2. This year, they have switched. And in particular, when it comes to designers, last year, or this year, when it comes to leaders and strategic, some of the roles have AI as number 1, and some of them has it as number 2, while the more strategic roles have actually design leadership as the primary interest that they are interested in. Yep. So how are our designers feeling? There you are. So, of course, well-being. We have this question: are you feeling well and energized on a daily basis? And of course, it correlates with stress. Like you can see here, you have like the stress level. And you can see, of course, the people who are not feeling well and energized on a daily basis are more stressed than the people who answer yes to this. But something that is really nice is that last year we had 37% who answered that they felt well and energized on a daily basis. This year is actually 52%. So even though we have some challenges the past year, we seem to be feeling a little bit better. And what's interesting is that the role that is most energized is the strategic roles. So you can see on all these, on all the answering alternatives here, you have the red one at the right, and it's at the top for all, whatever they have answered, they feel the most energized. And what's also interesting is that they feel this even though they are working the most overtime. And what's interesting is that if you correlate stress with overtime, you can see a very, it's correlated, but not when it comes to strategic roles. So there's something here in the leadership role that actually, I think maybe it's inherent, but also something that I think they maybe are so engaged in the work so that it's okay. What's also interesting is that last year we had 85% who said that they work 40 hours per week, and 12% who said that they work 37 to 39 hours a week. This year we have 77 who work 40 hours and 20% who work less. So we've actually decreased the number of hours per week that people work. At the same time, we can also see that the overtime has also decreased. Last year, we had 79% who seldom or never worked overtime. And now we have more who never or seldom work overtime. So we are feeling better. We are working less, and we're feeling better. So that's a really nice trend, I think. When it comes to, we've been trying to analyze, so is it different when it comes to stress and well-being in relation to the size of the company, gender, or we're trying to figure out, can we see some significant differences between some of these different categories that we have in the survey. And I think one of the things that we would like to point out is that it is a difference between women and men. Women are in general more stressed than men. And what is it that seems to be making them more stressed? Well, it is working in large companies. It's also when women become the older they get and the more experience they get, the more stressed they feel, while it's the opposite for men. So men with age and experience becomes less stressed, while women becomes more stressed. I think that's quite interesting. It's also women are more stressed when they work alone, and they are also more stressed when we decrease investments in design. And what are the causes of stress? Well, the top three is basically the same as last year. It's by far unclear expectations, poor leadership, and lack of control. This year we actually have top four, because unclear responsibility is very close. Last year it was much higher difference between the top three and the rest. But it's also interesting to see, okay, so these are the causes of stress that people mostly talk about. But when you compare what they are saying that they are being stressed by with their stress level, you can see that too high expectations is actually the one cause of stress that makes you the most stressed, which is also the same as last year.
Yeah, then we switch here. So then we have a chapter called Designing Organizations, and here we're measuring the design maturity. Ask in the company that you work for, and it's similar from last year, but it's number 3 and 4 here: emergent and structured. That are most common, and this is the Norman Nielsen Group's UX maternity model that we have changed UX to design, and as we see on the next slide with the index, which we add up everything, we made a switch between 22 and 23, which might be the jump here in the statistics. But the index is similar on the spot from last year, even though they are different in the different levels, but still it's stable. So it's increased over the years, but now it's flattened a little bit. And the characteristics of mature and immature organizations is that the immature seldom meet their users. It's more likely to work alone. It's less inclusive. People are more stressed and less energized. And these are a tendency to the large companies and public sector. So there are more companies that are immature in this area. And the mature ones are, you have ownership of your design, well-known and used design processes, investments in design and recruiting, few people looking for new employment, less stress and more energized, and tonvikt, tendency for the consultancy companies. So this doesn't say that a public sector are immature, but they have a tendency to be there on that spectrum. And we see a change in how people mark where they are localized in the organization. So you see in this year, decentralized function are most common, which was a number 5 last year. And then in design organization also risen. And IT taken products, which was the top one last year, are now in 3rd and 4th place. Why? We don't know. Maybe now I see I pointed one. The centralized function is not that one. It wasn't that wasn't an alternative last year, wasn't it? No. So maybe that's the thing that people are finding, that this is a better description of where they are located. So see, that's how we are evolving this. And design ownership, many answers that they have design ownership of the design. But as you see in the immature, the large companies, less ownership. And leaders in strategic roles seems to feel that they have more ownership, maybe because they are the one who's running it. Then we have a chapter called Design Culture. The design culture, how people describe it, is that it's open-minded, creative, having fun, being inclusive on the top ones. So probably something that you recognize in the design community, different ways, but it differs from other cultures within organizations. So you see it's the majority says that it's different compared to the rest of the organization, which might be frustrating. And this has increased as well. So that's something to work with in the future. the way of working. 79 says that they have some kind of design process that they work with, but mostly for designers. And they have different design processes in the organizations, which means that if you collaborate, you're having difficulties because you have different processes. Most people meet customers, but in different levels. So a few times a year is the majority, and then you have once a month. And then you have some of them who doesn't meet at all, but still it's positive that we see that people actually meet users in different ways. Anna.
I just also going to say that, like we said, this survey is quite big. So what we're showing tonight is just a little, what do we say, snippet of what's in it. Trying to show you what the most interesting things we think that can be of use. So this is something that we've explored for a couple of years now. How do we sort of try to figure out what do we think about good and less good leadership when it comes to design leadership? And these are in a lot of ways opposites of each other, not surprisingly, but also very consistent over time. So we want someone who can understand us and trust us. We want someone who can communicate, and we want someone that can show us the way. And of course, the opposite is what we don't want. It's quite clear. But the thing is that something that we've started to see and we've been starting to analyze and dig deeper into each year and getting more questions and also doing more thorough analysis of is, okay, so this poor leadership, what kind of effect does it have on the designer, on the culture? And of course, it has consequences. We can really see that, well, poor leadership is the #1 cause of stress by far, and it was the same last year. And the most stress you get is when you feel that the leader is having unfair treatment. Then you have like the highest stress level of them all. And when you look at the people who are looking for a new job, 51% of those say that they are looking for a new job because they want new leadership. And and this year last year we started seeing this, that people are looking for new jobs. And it's about the same. It's a little bit increased, 33%, last year 30%. And like I said, they want new leadership, that's #1, but they also want better salary and to develop themselves.
And who doesn't want a better salary? So this is the median salary for female and male and others. So it's 52 for female. It's up about 6%. For men, it's up almost 4%. So the median is 54. And the green one, which is the others, we only have a small percentage who has answers. So we shouldn't maybe look at that numbers too critically. We have followed this median salary over the years. What we have done is, for example, from 2015 to 18, we used an average, and now we're using the median model. So that's why it's a difference. But we see that it goes up through the years. We have now also added statistics from SEB, which is the green one, and this is for the whole populations in Sweden. Probably next year we will add more data from the SEB because they have more data on that.
But I also want to point it out because last year we talked quite a lot about that, the gap between men and women. We didn't see that we were worried that they were actually growing. But here we can actually see now that there's a trend that we're actually getting closer to each other.
Yeah.
So that's really nice.
Exactly, and I think it's about was it 2 or 3,000? That's the difference.
I think it was 3,000.
Yeah,
last.
this year. So hopefully we'll like close the gap the coming years. Salary depends on a lot of things. We have looked in the data for like age. We have looked at seniority. We have looked at different industries. We looked at different where you live in the country, in Sweden or abroad. We have all these different. So that's, we would say that it's so easy that you just look on that general level, but you really have to like dig down to look at like where you are, where you work, what your role, how long you've been working and such. If you want to try to compare, I would say. We have also looked at the consulting fees, and the last year it was 1,100. It's been about the same for a couple of years. It's been around 1,100. I probably would say that this has decreased during the last year and this year, if I go and look in other data sources. But you can see there's a span from somebody has a 200 per hour and somebody got 3,600. So it's a big span between the different levels. Hopes and challenges. This was a new question that we asked. There was an open answer. What do you say? Open answer. Just to kind of understand, like, what was the biggest challenges for last year, and what's your hope for the future year or the coming years? And the challenges was economic uncertainty, budget cuts, and restructuring within the company. The poor leadership comes up again. Communications and collaborations and management. And then, of course, high workloads, burnout, and work-life balance issues. This was the struggles for most designers and design leaders. And the hopes are financial improvements, new job, better work environment, development, learning, improved design process, and a focus on sustainability, leadership, and reducing work week. And that was a glimpse of this year's report. And now we are going to have a Any questions before we start the workshop in smaller groups? We will be here during the whole evening. So if you have any specific questions, come by and we can like see if we can answer them or show them directly in the report.